But before we get into the best movies of 2022, we are going to talk about the first segment, Can't Wait to Watch, where we talk about new releases coming out soon and go over some entertainment news. And one movie that I have seen that's coming out soon that I'm a little interested in, but also a little hesitant to watch, is Knock at the Cabin. It is M. Night Shyamalan's newest film. It comes out February 2nd, so it's this Thursday, which is the 2 days before the podcast uploads on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to share with your friends and rate and review us. Enjoy the Patreon. But I'm kind of like, I've watched the trailer and I see the cast and I'm a little bit interested in like what the film has to offer, but at the same time I'm kind of hesitant towards it because M. Night Shyamalan, even though he is a stellar director, he did also direct the Avatar live action film. So I was like, listen, ever since like Avatar live action and then like Glass came out, it's kind of like, I have hope for the movie, but maybe it's not going to be as good as people think it is. I don't want to think that, but that might happen. I don't know. What do you think, Loretto?
I think with any talented filmmaker, it doesn't matter who you are. I think every director is entitled to maybe a couple misses. There's a lot of directors out there. They've had a couple movies that maybe it just wasn't their best. Spielberg, what have you. And look, I actually like M. Night Shyamalan. I like a lot of his work. I like Signs, Unbreakable is one of my favorite like superhero movies that you didn't know was a superhero movie until you watch it. And The Village I actually liked more than most people. I know a lot of people hated that one. I liked The Visit, which was kind of like a found footage creepy old lady movie, and I thought that was pretty scary. But with Knock at the Cabin and going back to like even like The Happening and Glass, which I didn't love, Knock at the Cabin kind of feels like a little bit of both of that, like a little bit of Old too, because Old was okay, it was interesting, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. Yeah, I don't know with Knock at the Cabin. I think it's like any other Shyamalan picture for me, where I'm just gonna have to watch it and judge it when the movie's over. But I like the guy. I think he's talented, and it could be fun. I also like the cast. Rupert Grint, nice to see him back. Most people know him as Ron Weasley, and Dave Bautista has been doing great. Transitioning as a former pro wrestler. Arguably he's doing better than The Rock in terms of like acting, like actually acting in like good films, not just action comedies that like The Rock always does. So. Yeah, I think it's exciting, but at the same time, just from the trailer, it's like, oh, one of you has to die to save the world, and it's like such a vague concept. So I'm wondering how they're gonna how Shyamalan will stretch that out into like a 2-hour film. It seems like an episode of The Twilight Zone, and it's like, can he stretch this out for 2 hours? We'll see.
I have to say, like, M. Night Shyamalan, I do agree with you. Very talented director and screenwriter as well. With movies like Signs, Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense, that's where he really shines, and that's where he got like that name recognition. But something that I've noticed a lot with like directors that have been in the game for a long time, and of course this will happen to anybody, who have made all these films, made a name for themselves, at some point or another, you kind of fall off, and your name recognition isn't going to get you any further than, like, that surefire, yes from the studio, paycheck up front, full release in all the widest theaters, and then it's just up to the critics from there, At least, like...
That's very well said.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. So.
And
like your name can only get you so far at some point, like so.
Yeah, and the thing is about M. Night Shyamalan is that a lot of his movies, you're right, they have interesting concepts. It's kind of vague, so it's just like one of those things where it's like, an island where when you go, you progressively get older. I wonder how that's going to pan out. And then it just gets to the point where you watch the movie and then like 45 minutes in, you're like, okay, so the story's over, but we still have another hour left. What's going to happen? And then you watch it, or it's like with Glass, when it's like, okay, Split was pretty good, glass. Okay, I've been here for an hour and a half. Nothing has happened. Where is the action? Where is the, like, what am I here to see? You know what I mean? It's kind of like,
Right.
I feel like with Knock at the Cabin, it's hinging on the suspense and the kind of like, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen, but like we kind of do know what's gonna happen. Like what twist ending could you really give us for this movie? Like I really don't know. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you just kind of have to wait and see what's gonna come from the movie. But I feel like we all know that it's probably not gonna be that great, but it may be fun.
Since you're at the end of the video, don't forget to like the video and leave a comment down below. If you want early access to these highlights, join our Patreon. Patrons have access to our entire archive, including full-length videos. Patrons also have the opportunity to choose a topic for our podcast, and they get the opportunity to be a guest. Join now.